Chair is now recognized for an opening statement. After 2.5 years of the Biden border crisis, here's what administration officials have told us. The Biden administration's policies have led to more national security threats. The Biden administration policies make it less likely that enforcement actions will be taken against criminal aliens. ICE officers have been reassigned from their duties, locating and arresting aliens, to simply processing illegal border crossers if they report to ICE, as they were ordered to when they were released at the border. ICE officers are attempting to arrest fewer aliens because of the Biden administration's enforcement priorities memo. According to the IG, we know that even aliens who illegally cross the border are on the terrorist watch list can be released into the United States, free to board an airplane and head to the U.S. city of their choice. We know that the record numbers of illegal aliens, terrorists, and fentanyl have crossed our southwest border during the 2.5 years of this administration. And we know that not only are communities on the southwest border overwhelmed, but so are cities 2,000 plus miles away from the border. With the current rate of removals and the current number of non-detained aliens who have been ordered removed from the United States at over 1.2 million, it would take 20 years for removal of those individuals. Criminal aliens who could have been removed under previous administrations are likely not subject to removal today under the Biden administration. And we know that Border Patrol does not specifically check the home country criminal history of aliens it encounters at the border. We know that the Biden administration's open border policies have led directly to the deaths of Noah Rodriguez and Kayla Hamilton, the violent assault of a teenage girl in Alabama, and the victimization of countless other American citizens. We know that this administration repeatedly violates the law under the guise of instituting safe, orderly, and humane policies. But nothing about the Biden administration's policy is safe, orderly, or humane. In fact, there have been more than 5.6 million illegal alien encounters across the southwest border since the start of the Biden administration. And that doesn't include over the 1.5 million gotaways. Millions of foreign nationals have indebted themselves to the smuggling cartels to get to this country. Millions of foreign nationals have subjected themselves to assault, robbery, or worse on the way to the border because they know that more likely than not, they will be allowed to stay in the United States once they get here. I know that today Secretary Mayorkas is going to try to paint a rosy picture of this disastrous mismanagement of our border, but the numbers don't lie. As of June, border encounters were down from record highs of 252,000 to 145,000. Only this administration and my Democrat colleagues would call it a success when monthly encounter numbers are near 150,000. In fact, from fiscal year 2014 to the beginning of the Biden administration, there were only 4 months with an apprehension number higher than 100,000. But under the Biden administration, there have now been 29 straight months, 29 months in a row with more than 100,000 illegal encounters on our borders. DHS was created in the wake of September 11th, 2001, to deal with after the terrorist attack. It was created to help ensure American safety. Admittedly, this is an enormous task, and it is one in which this secretary has completely failed. Instead of building off the previous administration's success, this administration has abandoned any semblance of border security and immigration enforcement. And Americans are paying the price.
Those are all facts. That's what our concern is. Of course we want protection and treat respectfully anyone who's a whistleblower. And no one on our side has publicly or in this committee criticized Ms. Newbold. But the process is not how this committee is supposed to operate. And that's our concern. I yield back to the gentleman from Michigan.
I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cortez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's important that we refocus on what is at stake here in this investigation, in this matter. We are getting reports from the press and from a wide variety of sources that indicate that, that people are, folks are suggesting that we are conducting foreign relations with folks with security clearances via WhatsApp. I mean, every day that we go on without getting to the bottom of this matter is a day that we are putting hundreds, if not potentially thousands of Americans at risk. I mean, really, what is next? Putting nuclear codes in Instagram DMs? This is ridiculous. We need to get to the bottom of this. And in order to do that, we have to issue subpoenas because people in this administration are not cooperating. And every day that there is an insecure line of communication that could be leaked, that could be hacked, that could be screenshotted without proper channels is a day that we are putting our national security at risk. So the reason why we have to conduct and have these accommodations is because we are a committee that is committed to protecting whistleblowers. And I do have to commend the ranking member and to see the coordination between the ranking member and the chair in a commitment to whistleblowers, not just in respecting them, but in protecting them, is really admirable and important. And I wanted to note that because this is what protecting whistleblowers looks like. When they need a certain accommodation because they fear retaliation, we have to make accommodations. This committee in particular, as the Oversight Committee in the House of Representatives, we have a unique responsibility to protect those that have the courage to come out and say when something is wrong, regardless of the administration. Even in prior administrations, it doesn't matter the party. When something is going wrong in government, when there is overreach, when there is an abuse or a misconduct of process, we have an obligation to see and investigate it out. And so it is so serious, especially as a New Yorker, especially as anyone who cares about the security of what happens on American soil. Every day that we have an insecure line of communication, we have a responsibility to investigate it and to make sure that that we get to the bottom of it. So I just needed to put that note in, and I yield the rest of the
yield.
Chair. Yes.
Yields back. Who seeks recognition?
Mr. Chairman.
For what purpose does Mr. Jordan seek recognition?
Strike the last word, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you,
for
Mr.
5
Chairman.
minutes.
Just want to respond to the subcommittee chair from California. If the Democrats don't want to debate immigration policy in a reconciliation markup, then don't put immigration policy in a reconciliation bill. I mean, this is mostly about, but well, you're the ones who put all the immigration policy. You're the one who's trying to give amnesty to 8 million people. So the idea that we can't debate that that makes absolutely no sense. And then the double standard is just driving me nuts. The last amendment offered on Americans' Second Amendment liberties, or firearm offenses. I'm just reminded, I know we spent last Congress, the Democrats passed this red flag law, which said you could take a firearm from an American citizen if someone thought they might be a threat, didn't do anything wrong, they thought they might be a threat. Someone could go to government, go to the police, go to a court, and they would take that firearm from that individual, and that individual who's losing their right to their Second Amendment liberties wasn't even allowed to be at the proceeding. So you're willing to do that for citizens, but you can't say, oh, some illegal immigrant who has a firearms offense, we're not going to say that prohibits them from getting amnesty. I fail to see that. That makes absolutely no sense. So the contradictions are just starting to pile up. Again, if Democrats don't want to debate immigration policy in a reconciliation markup, don't put amnesty, don't put immigration policy in a reconciliation bill.
Will the gentleman yield?
Be happy to yield.
I just want to echo what Mr. Jordan just said. You all the Democrats are the ones that brought this issue to the table today. It doesn't belong here, but since it's teed up, we have to object. The idea that it is some sort of superfluous matter that we should waive off, that we're going to allow sex offenders into the country to give them green cards, is outrageous. And I'm telling you that the people of my district and my state do not want this. They will not stand for it. And the idea that we should wave a wand here, oh, you all just settle down. Republicans, please just be quiet. Let us get done with our budget matter here. That's all we want to do. These other things, let's just forget about this. We will not forget about it because the American people sent us here to fight for their freedoms, to fight for their rights, their sovereignty, their security. And bringing in sex offenders from 150 some odd countries over this border that's been opened up by the Biden administration is an outrageous thing that every member of this committee should be fighting against. And I cannot believe that the Democrats are trying to wave this off as this is some sort of little matter. I yield back.
Yield to the gentleman from.
The gentleman yields back. I recognize.
No, he's yielding back to me. I yield to the gentleman from